Hey guys, I'm the Drink Pro. It's BTAC, baby. Today we're sampling William Larue Weller. Hey everybody, it's the Drink Pro. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for tuning in again. If you guys want to help support the show, please check out the Patreon. Links in the description. It'll really help us out, and I've got cool exclusive content up there. You can be engaged with the show and help decide what our next review is going to be, and even check out some really interesting videos that you're not going to see anywhere else. But today, we've got a really special sample, guys. It's the 2019 William Larue Weller. Now, this is a bottle that a lot of people are looking for and can't find. A very generous person, John Kim, who is in one of the bourbon groups I'm associated with, he let me have this 1 ounce pour. Big shout out to John. Thanks so much. I'm really looking forward to trying it. A lot of distilleries out there aren't very transparent with the mash bill or the different components of their whiskeys, but that's one of the things I really like that Buffalo Trace does with their BTAC collection. So the William Larue Weller from 2019 was actually put into the barrels in 2007, and it was put in at a proof of 114. But by the time they brought it out of the barrels, over 12 years later, it was actually up to 128 proof. That typically means that a lot of water got sucked into the barrel, and so the alcohol content increased. There are 3 different grains that go into William Larue Weller. There's a wheat, and there's a barley, and there's a corn. The wheat and the barley, in this case, were actually from North Dakota, and the corn is from Kentucky. The sheet that William Larue Weller provides to the people who buy their rare bourbons has a lot more interesting details too. It talks about the cooking and fermentation process. It has a milling screen number 10, which I'm not certain what that means. I suppose it means how fine it's milled, maybe? It was cooked at 240 degrees Fahrenheit. It's also worth noting that this bourbon is non-chill filtered. It's put in the bottle at barrel proof. We've talked before about the non-chill filtering in a previous video. I think it was actually a previous video about Buffalo Trace. The barrels that these William Larue Weller went in are new white oak with a number 4 char. Number 4 is about essentially how long the barrel was charred. In this case, it was a 55-second char. There's something called an alligator char, which I believe is a bit longer. There's a lot of different elements and components to creating whiskey, and it really gives you some insight into how this William Larue Weller was made. The barrels were in warehouse I, 2nd and 3rd floor. 57%. 57% of this whiskey was lost to evaporation, and that's called the angel's share. When whiskey evaporates in the barrel, it goes to the angels, is the idea. But that's a significant amount of whiskey to be lost in the process of aging it. There's actually a ton more information on the stat sheet that I didn't provide, and I've already given you a whole lot. If you're really interested in that kind of thing, you can find those stat sheets online and read all about what goes into these BTAC whiskeys. I will post a link in the description for the William Larue Weller 2019, which I'm about to sample, for their stat sheet. But without further ado, let's go ahead and try this. Oh, okay. You can definitely tell it's 128 proof. It's got that alcohol in the nose, but it's not really that hot. I mean, it's got a sharpness, and it can actually make it a little difficult to find the other notes. One of the things you can do if you're drinking a hotter whiskey and you're having trouble finding notes is put your nose in until you start to feel that burn, and then pull it out a little bit. And so it's about, your nose is about an inch away from the glass. And that kind of gives you an introduction to the heat, and then you can put your nose in further and further as you become more accustomed to it. Oh, it's a good smell, guys. I'm getting that sweetness, the sweet vanilla, very classic bourbon notes, and the wheat tends to calm down some of the other notes. Wheaters is what they're called, wheated whiskeys. Tend to have a smoothness that a lot of other whiskeys don't have. A lot of the biggest brands of whiskey, William Larue Weller and all of the Weller line, the Pappy Van Winkle line, all of these are wheated whiskeys, and there's a lot more out there as well. But there's a softness to them that is really sought after. I almost get some mint on the nose in this. But it's a very soft mint, the vanilla, the sweetness, the mint, and maybe even a little bit of clove, and certainly a hint of woodiness. I've never tried William Larue Weller before. This is the first time I've ever tasted it here on camera. I'm looking forward to it, guys, so let's have this experience together. Wow, it's hotter than I expected it to be. I mean, I know 128 proof is nothing to sneeze at. We're talking 64% alcohol. But the heat in it is really fascinating and interesting. Honestly, I get citrus fruit right away. There's a sweetness. There's an herbal note. Maybe that mint. It kind of evolves some more in the mid palate. And you get this sort of hot, slightly bitter but woody barrel component. And that bitterness kind of lingers with you for a while. That woodiness stays and sticks around. This is something different. This is something special. This is a whiskey you put all your attention on. This whiskey is the star of the show. No one can outdo this whiskey. Oh, and then after tasting it, I go back to the nose. All kinds of interesting notes. It's sweet, it's sour. There's so much going on, I'm actually having trouble parsing it all out. I get like sour green grapes on the nose after coming back from a taste. I'm getting some of that mint still. Definitely citrus fruit, maybe lemon zest, maybe orange. It's still pretty hot. It's still got a lot of burn. I'm definitely getting a clove note in there as well. I guess I could almost get a very subtle almond note out of it. If I had to pick a nut, it would be either cashews or almonds. But there's some sort of nuttiness in there. God, this is such a complex pour, guys. I've got like 1,000 tasting notes I've just given. Oh, shit. Right away. As soon as I put it in my mouth, I got cotton candy. That was the first thing I just got that time, and I didn't get that before. It totally fucked up the rest of the taste because I just got so focused on the cotton candy I forgot what else was happening. That's super weird, but I really like it. It's something so different. There's so much. Every sip is a new adventure with this pour. That is really something special, guys. There's a reason that these bottles go for $700, $800, $1,000 a bottle sometimes. Maybe even more depending on how old you get, but I think this bottle probably secondary is $700, and I get it. I see why. Now, would I pay $700 for this bottle? Absolutely not. I don't have that kind of money, and I just don't think the diminishing returns make enough sense. Oh, and now I come back to it, and it's got a totally different nose. I know this pour was a little hot, and that is a natural place to add water, but I couldn't bring myself to add water to the whole pour. I dumped out most of it. That's very little whiskey, as you can tell. I'm going to add the tiniest drop of water and see what it does to affect the flavor. Yeah, see, there's not that much change. All the water really does on this pour is kind of dumb it down. With something this expensive, this complex, this nuanced, they put it in the bottle the way it was supposed to be. I can't recommend adding water to this. Yeah, the water actually makes it worse on the palate. The bitterness kind of comes out and a lot of the subtleties are falling away. 12 years, 6 months. William Larue Weller 2019, 128 proof, a fantastic whiskey. I highly recommend buying it if you can find it. Most people can't find it, frankly. It's a hard whiskey to find, and a lot of people will never get the chance to taste it. I hope some of you were able to live vicariously through me. I feel absolutely blessed to have been able to taste it. Thank you so much, John Kim, for your generosity, for offering this pour up. This pour was actually part of a free giveaway in a group, which I thought was a great idea, where the group every Friday gives away a sample from a bottle, and then whoever got that sample has to give a pour away to someone else. And it creates this wonderful chain of sharing whiskey with your friends. Even if you can't get together, you get to find a time just to do an exchange, just so you can keep trying new whiskeys and keep being engaged with the process of tasting and exploring and enjoying the pours. When you're thinking about a whiskey that's going to be a $700 bottle in the secondary market or more, possibly, you really think to yourself, there's no way that could be worth it. There's no way anybody would pay that much. They're just stupid. They're just, wanting a bottle to show off. I don't know, man. That William Larue Weller was fucking good. I don't think I'd pay $700 for it, but I would definitely pay more than retail for it. I would pay more. I would pay a couple of $100s for that bottle, and I really can't afford to do that. I don't know how else to express it to you guys. There's so much happening. It's so complex. It's so interesting. Like I said before, though, some people don't really want that complexity. Depends on how you experience whiskey. If I bought this bottle, I would only drink it when I was sitting there looking at it, experiencing it, focusing on it. This is not a whiskey to do with anything else. This whiskey is the star. Some people don't want to do that. They want to drink as an accompaniment to a show. This is the show. However you like enjoying it, keep drinking, keep knowing things. Highly recommend the William Larue Weller. If you can't get it, I totally understand. But keep drinking like a professional, regardless. Cheers.